Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the 136th session of the 11th Council. I'll open this meeting at 6:03. Councilman Parker, would you introduce a member of the clergy that will be giving an invocation?
Thank you, President Pro Tem. I introduce to you the pastor of the East Side Church of God, Pastor Kathy Lee James.
Thank you, sir.
Let us bow our heads. Good to see our Councilman Brett Nicholson tonight. Welcome. Been praying for you. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for your goodness and mercy on tonight. We would pray that you be with us on tonight, that you give us the vision, the wisdom, the knowledge, and understanding to be able to make decisions in the best interests of our residents. We ask your blessings upon this council, and we ask your blessings upon the city of Pontiac. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. At this time, can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, let's take a few moments to remember all those residents who are our friends, family members, associates, and colleagues that have passed to be with their ancestors since our last meeting. At this time, a moment of silence. Thank you. Clerk Doria, please call the roll.
Carrington.
Present.
Goodman.
Here.
James.
Here.
McGinnis. Nicholson. Here. Parker.
Here.
Rutherford.
Present.
Mr. President, you have a quorum.
Thank you. At this time, I need a motion and a second to excuse Councilmember President McGinnis from this evening's meeting.
Support.
It's been moved by Councilwoman Rutherford, second by Councilman Nicholson, to excuse Councilman McGinnis from tonight's meeting. Clerk, roll call.
Carrington.
Yes.
Goodman.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Nicholson.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Rutherford.
Yes.
6 yeas, no nays.
Thank you. That motion passed. I need a motion and a second to approve today's agenda.
Support.
Are there any amendments to the agenda?
I'd like to make an amendment, please.
What is that amendment,
To amend
Councilwoman?
to add the Pontiac Oakland chapter of Zonta International in celebration of Women's Month. And this is the last week of Women's Month. Add them to the agenda.
All right, thank you. I'm going to put that item after recognition of elected officials.
Need a second.
So it's been moved by Councilwoman Rutherford.
Support.
I have to approve. Are we not? Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Who's been moved by this? Who gave me the second? Okay. It's been moved by Councilwoman Rutherford, second by Councilman Goodman.
So, I'm sorry, Mr. President. That was a resolution? Okay.
No, this is amendment to the agenda.
Yeah, but what was the amendment?
Let me do a excuse me.
Okay, I can give it to you. I can give it to you. Pontiac Oakland chapter of Zona International, a special presentation.
Okay.
That presentation will be after recognition of elected officials.
Okay.
You have that, Clerk? Okay. So it's been moved by Councilwoman Rutherford, second by Councilman Goodman, to add a special presentation, Pontiac Oakland chapter of Zona International, to tonight's agenda. Can I get a roll call on approval of the amendment?
James.
Yes.
Nicholson.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Rutherford.
Yes.
Carrington.
Yes.
Goodman.
Yes.
6 yeas, no nays.
Thank you. At this time, clerk, can I need a roll call to approve the agenda as amended?
Goodman.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Nicholson.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Rutherford.
Yes.
Carrington.
Yes.
6 yeas, no nays.
Thank you. The next item is approval of the consent agenda. We have 4 items that's in the consent agenda. March 19, 2024, City Council meeting minutes. B, resolution to approve general ledger account clerical error correction for resolution 24-33. Resolution to approve general ledger account clerical error correction for resolution 24-66C. Resolution declaring April 2024 as Second Chance Month. At this time, I need a motion and second to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
It's been moved by Councilwoman Melanie Relaford, second by Councilwoman James, to approve tonight's consent agenda. Clerk Doyle, could I have a roll call?
Nicholson?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Rutherford?
Yes.
Carrington?
Yes.
Goodman?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
6 yeas, no nays.
That motion passes. At this time, recognition of elected officials. If you're in the audience, you have an opportunity to take the podium if you like. Any elected officials in the audience or any that want to take the podium? Brian Killiam? Okay. Okay. Well, thank you. Special presentation by Pontiac Oakland chapter of Zona International with Portia Fields Anderson. And I know you were introduced the rest of your team. That's with you.
And we're going to say Zonta instead of Zonta.
Okay. Thank you for the correction.
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
This is Women's History Month.
Could you make sure is the mic on for her?
Okay. And with me is our president of Zonta International, Barbara. Mikhail, your person in your district.
We have met.
Yes. And we have another Zonta member here, Jackie, who is here to help us honor who should be honored. And as I look around the audience, I see a Rose person there, former Mayor Deirdre Waterman, and not yet. But first of all, I would like for you to know who Zonta is, and we'll be very quick about it. We know we have a long agenda. But when we can honor women for Women's History Month, we should. Barbara, would you tell us a little bit about Zonta?
I will be glad to do that. I am Barb Swartzel, the current president of our Pontiac North Oakland Zonta Club. Zonta International is an international organization with members and clubs all around the world. And our focus is enhancing the status of women worldwide, building a better world for women and girls. And here in Pontiac, we do that in a variety of ways. We have a partnership with Grace Centers of Hope's Women's Ministry, particularly their aftercare program. We partner with Career Dress, with Lighthouse, with the Baldwin Center, and Hope Mission across the street from Baldwin Center. And some of that is funding. Some of that is hands-on service. We do our work through service and advocacy. Another piece that is, I think, welcome for all of us is that one of the things that our Zonta Club and the rest of the clubs in Michigan have done is that we worked very hard to eliminate child marriage in Michigan. Michigan had no minimum age for marriage. None. And it is now age 18, and there are no exceptions. And we are working on that project around the world. But here in the United States, we have to do each individual state individually because marriage is a state matter.
And there's only 11 states that have passed this law. It's very, very sad.
It is. And it's when we hear the effects that early and child marriage has on young women, it's really devastating. It throws them into poverty, decreases economic opportunity, traps them all too often in abusive marriages that they cannot get out of because they cannot contract with an attorney until they're 18. They can't find housing. They cannot go to a women's shelter. Oh, that's another one that's on our list, is Haven. Because the shelter is required to return them to their family, which would mean either the parents who facilitated this marriage or the abusive spouse. So that's been an accomplishment that we've been working on for 6 years. And there are another 39, math is not my strong suit, 39 states plus all the territories that need to make that same change. So those are the kinds of things we do that illustrates our service and advocacy. But we are here today to recognize the women who represent Pontiac in this city council. Jackie, did you want to add anything to that?
We are so proud that
Please come to the mic so those are watching from home can hear you.
we are so proud that we have the opportunity to honor Kathy James and Melanie Rutherford
Melanie, yeah.
for your service and leadership within the city of Pontiac.
And what you need to know, and you may have to help me with this, is every year during Women's Month, we have what we call a Rose Day. And a Rose Day means that we have identified women. You're not supposed to know that this is happening, that we are honoring you with our yellow rose. And the yellow rose means?
It's a symbol of friendship. It is our official, one of our official Zonta designations. Our flower is the yellow rose.
And so I have to ask Councilwoman Kathy James and Councilwoman Melanie Rutherford to please join us here.
Yeah. So as you know, I can officially keep a secret, right?
I know. When she announced it on the agenda, I went, oh dear. Rose Day is the fun thing that we do. When we honor the women who have set themselves up to be leaders, to go beyond, over than they have been. And we're very happy to say that, oh, you're going to take a picture?
Yeah, you can look this way.
Wait a minute, let me get close.
Yes. Okay, and we need to recognize women because we do so much stuff that brings a tear to our eyes when we are working. So now that we get to recognize women who say yes before they say no, and they say sure instead of maybe so, that's what we do. So once a year, this is Rose Day, and we are going to give these roses to Councilwoman Kathy Lee. Yes. And those of you that know me, I'm 99% thorough. The other 1% meant I left the certificates at home. And for Melanie, for you. So we are very, very happy to extend something as positive as this to the women who are leaders in our community. Kathy Lee, I hope you're genuinely surprised.
I am.
And you are surprised. Okay, we're gonna let you guys take the mic at this point. Is that okay?
Yes, of course.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, they're the leaders here.
Well, I did not expect to come to this meeting to smell the roses, but I have. I thank the Zonta group for this honor. It really is a surprise, and it's just great to just take a moment to smell the roses, because a lot of things are not as sweet as this roses smell. So thank you very much and for the recognition, and I appreciate it.
And if we could have you, President and Mayor, join us for a quick photo. We have, I think, a minute and 22 seconds left. Please come and join us.
Can
for
I
that.
say my thing?
Absolutely.
Yeah, let
Wait a minute.
I wanted to get them moving.
Okay, y'all, I'm gonna get up. I am thoroughly surprised. I oftentimes hear a prophet is never honored in her homeland. And so I take when people say good things about me seriously, because it sometimes outweighs the bad. And so this is something I definitely needed to hear today. I had a really rough week, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes.
Hey, actually, I'm gonna have the whole council join you guys.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, y'all can clap. We are women or something. I'm just saying.
Melanie?
I was gonna give you a
Yes.
How y'all want us? How y'all want us up there? Oh,
We actually don't get up here.
Oh, up here? Okay. Can we come up here?
Yes, we can. Thank you, everybody.
Portia, you get a hug. And I owe you a phone call, so I will be giving you a call. No, I owe, no, it's not. Look, I'll give you.
I can just do it online and send it to you.
Will you take this?
Miss Portia.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Do you want me to take it out of your phone? I got you. I feel like I'm uniquely qualified as like the youngest person here. All right, you ready, guys?
Yeah. Wait.
that's it.
Smile. Okay, perfect. We'll do a couple here. Perfect. Good job, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
We'll see. Yeah.
Sir.
No problem. Again, a round of applause for the women leaders of our city. Now, we have a hot agenda tonight, so we're going to keep it moving. I'm sorry. Agenda address. I'm sorry. I'm going a little fast, like I'm always trying to finish this meeting before it gets started. But agenda address. She's ready now. She smelled the roses.
Agenda address allows citizens to comment on the agenda items on the agenda. The council gives you 2 minutes to speak on any agenda item. Do not use this form if you want to give public comment about an item that is not on the agenda. Our first speaker will be Dr. Deidre Waterman. What will be the agenda items that you'll be speaking on?
D, 8, 25, 35, and a couple more I'd like to get to, but I'll start with those.
Okay, thank you. You can begin.
Zontas are a great organization, women's organization, and I was proud to be one of their guest speakers and their honorees, and I'm glad they're here to recognize Women's History Month, and congratulations to our women councilwomen who are getting the awards tonight. I want to start with number 8, which is the contract about the architectural design firm for the Youth Rec Center. And as you remember, that was on the agenda last week, and council, with some confusion, but they decided to postpone it to this week because there were some answers that had not been given you in the packet. And as I looked, I see they're still not there. So in the whole week they had to prepare. Council, you start being given the information. And one of those things was, number one, since this is an out-of-town group, just what the aegis was for not granting at least somebody in Michigan for the contract. Like you say, you want to support local contractors. And I'm sure there are as many, many, many Michigan architects who would be just as qualified who would jump at doing a $3 million contract. Also, we said, well, what about the diversity? And most companies now do have a statement of diversity, of inclusion, that they include. And I said, well, did we even ask for that, Council? And also the fact that usually when there are many bids out for one contract, that they list the bids in the packet so whether we can see and compare. That was done in other times. Why is it not done this time? And even though you said you wanted to wait and to review that information, it's still not here tonight. So is it, Council, that you don't get to, is there an afterthought? This is already decided, that it doesn't matter what information is missing, that even though they've given them a week, you still don't have it? So I'd just like to bring that to your point, and I look forward to the discussion, because I would like to see if some of those questions were answered.
Thank you. Carlton Jones, what items?
4 and 8.
Thank you.
Good evening. What I want to talk about on number 4, I went over and checked out the property that we're talking about selling. It was very difficult for me to be able to understand how it was presented in the agenda, and I went in the package, and I didn't quite have enough information to see what the one package on one property was saying on Highland, one saying on Bloomfield, had no address to it. So it was really kind of hard to determine what it was that we're talking about we're selling. So just need some clarity on that to understand what that property was addressed. Is it a vacant lot with no address to it? I did see a property parcel number, but I couldn't truly see, is it abutting the one? So I just need to get some clarity on that. And then on number 8, just like was spoken a minute ago, when we talk about using ARBOR funds, we all know that all the different states, counties, cities got funds. And we in our city, we truly trying to say we need a lot of help to try to rebuild our city. And that's what those funds was for. And I think if we going to really start trying to rebuild our city, we know that we got to do our best effort to try to have those funds be directly related to how we can have some circulation of economy here in the city of Pontiac. So I'm hoping that our legislators are truly, truly conscious of when we speak to this, that you respond to it accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you. Ala Sabir. Okay. Chuck Johnson, not present. Larry Jasper, what items will you be speaking to tonight, sir? I'm sorry? Okay, thank you.
I noticed that on 8, you're having an outside architectural group look at it. Have you guys considered what bill, Senate Bill 1022 and 1023 means to the citizens of Pontiac? And how that might affect them in this architectural design? And whether or not we're using it. By the way, the citizens of this city would be responsible for any development in downtown, to include the sidewalks, the grassy areas, any kind of oversights, any kind of bus stations, anything going on in the downtown area. I don't think anybody here has been notified of that, and they should. It was passed in 2022. Additionally, does anybody know what DEI law is that was issued in 2008? It's a partnership that was done with the 425 agreement and a few other properties, mostly in Detroit, but all the LLCs have been purchasing properties up in Pontiac right now. That means they're able to use city assets in the partnership and not be held responsible. This also means there's going to be more liability to cities, and why we've had so long to fix a bridge, because your assets are not being used to fix properties that are assessing to the citizens. In other words, a bridge to the hospital, the $400 for retirement, or even this facility for the children. Why are we only spending $3 million? We got $38 million from Biden for infrastructure development. Shouldn't we be using that for the children? Shouldn't we be fixing our bridge? So we're not. And you might want to look at these laws because they affect the citizens of the city, and they don't realize that the abatements have been given on all the different properties to include Bloomfield Park, Silverdome, Universal Wholesale Mortgage, are all raising the residential tax base. So therefore, your assessed values that were increased when you voted on it now are going to increase more, kicking out citizens out of their homes. Thank you.
Thank you. Darlene Clark, which agenda item will you be doing? Thank you.
Good afternoon, good evening, I should say. And speaking about number 8, and actually everything that we're talked to on the agenda today, plus in the future and the past, the question comes to that the people want to know, and Mr. Jones do bring it to the attention weekly, that hiring in-house or inside the city of Pontiac will also help the morale and to build the Pontiac residents up to a standard that you, as council, may be looking for. But in order to do that, and my statement is this: by hiring out of state, you're giving out-state people sorry about that, I had candy in my mouth. By hiring out of state, you're giving out-of-state companies a recognition that they deserve what they did for Pontiac. Can't the council and administration take that same scenario and that same government speak and hire inside within our city? You say you want to build the city of Pontiac up, and Pontiac do have very good talent. Whether we black, white, yellow, or green, we have a lot to offer in architect. We have a lot of contractors here. We have a lot of hard-working people, past and present, who have built up Pontiac and still have the skills today to do it. By giving to the people of Pontiac and giving that, and not the people, what I mean, every person who can have a qualification to help build what you're looking for, you give those people a name for giving back to their city. So reconsider before you go out of state to give them the props when you can give the interstate people the props.
That's the end of agenda address.
Thank you, Councilwoman Relaford. That concludes our agenda address. At this time, the first item under our ordinances is from the Planning Division, a resolution to approve the first reading of an ordinance to amend Appendix B of the Municipal Code of the City of Pontiac, amending Article 2, Section 2.103, zoning map to change the zoning classifications for one specific parcel, 64-14-33-378-011, 45222 Woodward Avenue on the north side of Woodward Avenue between South Boulevard and South Paddock Street from M1 Light Industry to C3 Corridor Commercial. This is our first reading. I need a motion and a second to
So moved.
approve this resolution.
Support.
I will turn over to the administration for context.
Thank you, President Pro Tem. This is a rezoning proposal that was recommended for adoption by the Planning Commission. It involves what is commonly called downzoning from a more intensive use to a less intensive use. So it's proposed to rezone from M1, or manufacturing 1, to C3, or Commercial 3. And it was brought forward at the request of a private landowner who is interested in operating a retail establishment to sell classic cars. And with that, I'll turn it over to our planning manager, Mark Andrew.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Before I get started, I do want to say someone may have left a pair of glasses at the podium if they want to retrieve them, so there are some up here. So with this application, it is ZMA 24002. The applicant is Ashley Bracknell, and this is a rezoning at 45222 Woodward Avenue, and it's a rezone from M1, which is industrial, to C3, which is corridor commercial. This is the process that this application is going through. It went through public hearing at the March 6th Planning Commission meeting. Tonight is the first reading, and tentatively the second reading is slated to be held next Tuesday night. This is our zoning map showing the area here. Just a second. So this area right here is the subject parcel. Avon Donuts is right here. M1 Concourse is this large area mixed-use development. So, and when looking at this area with Woodward Avenue is right here and South Boulevard is right here. So you have industrial zones currently, the M1 district between Central Avenue and the subject property. And then you've also got C3 for where Avon Donuts is, and then across the railroad track going farther north. So the Woodward corridor has a mix of C3 and M1 zoning district properties. This is an aerial showing just a little bit more detail of the subject property right here. There are no changes that the applicant is looking to propose to the site other than to the building itself. So the existing parking, the layout's going to stay the same. The building layout's intended to stay the same, but they are going to make some positive enhancements to the facade of the building. And this would be for an inside car sales facility. Now, the entrance to the site, and again, we're not at site plan tonight, but the entrance to the site is to the property to the south, and there are easements that an employee, a customer could still enter the site through the parking lot down here. This is a view from Woodward Avenue, again showing the former Elon Brothers restaurant right here, and then Avon Donuts is a little farther north. And this is, again, view of that brick facade that it currently exists. So let's get into the details of what City Council is reviewing tonight. So the subject parcel, again, is zoned M1, light manufacturing. There are neighboring parcels to the southeast and northeast across the Canadian National Railroad that are also zoned M1, which adjacent parcels to the north are zoned C3. As I mentioned, C3 is the most common zoning designation along Woodward Avenue, and this property has been utilized for commercial purposes for as long as the city has kept records of the property. This stretch of Woodward corridor has developed as an auto-oriented commercial area with multiple automobile sales facilities, repair facilities anchored by the M1 concourse across the street. The applicant is proposing again to rezone from M1 to C3 to allow these sales. Under the ordinance, auto sales under retail is only permitted if in M1 if it occurs outdoors. So it's an interesting caveat to our code. So in order to do indoor sales only, they are requesting the C3 corridor commercial. I mentioned they're not looking to alter the footprint. Most of the changes will occur indoor and along the facades. Now, the introduction of C3 does not present any new problematic uses to the site that weren't already permitted in the M1 zoning district, as the down zoning, as the mayor mentioned. For this reason, the applicant is proposing a clean rezoning rather than any conditions of approval with this rezoning. There are many uses approved in C3. I will not go through that list, but again, many of the things that are permitted by right in the top grouping are often found on commercial corridors throughout the city and throughout Michigan, having to do with bakeries, banks, business service establishments, restaurants, etc. And then there are a certain amount of permitted uses in the bottom that would require a special exception permit, and that is a special approval by Planning Commission to allow that use to operate there. So there are 10 standards of approval to consider with any rezoning. You've seen this before, just to make sure that we're being consistent on how the city applies these rezoning applications. But, there's some more analysis within the staff report in your packet, but I'm going to highlight just a few items. Number one, the master plan's future land use map classifies the subject property as entrepreneurial, residential, commercial, and green. So approval of this rezoning would be consistent with the master plan, and both the M1 and the C3 really lead to these types of land uses within these zoning districts. Next, the M1 zoning district precludes most reasonable commercial uses of the site. The site itself is too small for most manufacturing development and makes more sense as a commercial use. The C3 zoning district, again, is very common along this corridor, and this would permit uses that are already common in the area. The city utilities and services are sufficient to accommodate the proposed use. The site was previously used as a retail shop many years ago, and the utilities are designed to accommodate these uses. And the applicant has requested only one parcel to be rezoned. That request in staff's review is reasonable and will not be disruptive to adjacent properties. So Planning Commission's recommendation was approval of the rezoning 7-0 at the public hearing that they had earlier this month. I believe the applicant is in the audience, but I'll be happy to entertain any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yarborough. At this time, I'll open up discussion. Council, any questions? Councilwoman James.
I would like to ask the applicant, what was the previous use? Is this the same, has the parcel changed hands? Is it the same applicant that has owned it previously?
So it was the Evola Music Center for many, many years, and I believe that the applicant has just recently acquired the property.
They've recently acquired it, okay.
Yeah.
That was my question is, what was the previous use of it? Because you're saying that he wants to do sale at that retail facility, and I was just wondering, is that the same building that used to store cars? One of those buildings used to store like historic cars and classic cars?
I may have to defer that question. Again, we're aware of the music center that used to be there, but I'm not personally aware that there was indoor vehicle sales at this facility. Okay. If anyone from administration or council may know. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Councilwoman James, any follow-up questions?
No.
The rest of the council, have any questions? Hearing none, thank you. And this is the first reading, so if through the week we have a chance to see this again next week. Our clerk Doral, we're gonna have a roll call for the first reading.
Nicholson,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Rutherford,
Yes.
Carrington,
Yes.
James.
Yes.
5 yeas, no nays.
Thank you. That motion passes. At this time, the second item for ordinances is adoption of an ordinance to amend Appendix B of the Municipal Code of the City of Pontiac, amending Article 2, Section 2.103 zoning map to change the zoning classifications for a specific parcel on the east side of North Perry Street between Pontiac Road and Giddings Road, subject to the agreed upon conditions, rezone 17.6 acres of parcel 64-14-15-426-008 and 64-14-15-426-016 and 64-14-15-426-022 from R1, one family dwelling, to C3 corridor commercial. And this is our second reading. I would like to turn it over to Mayor Grammer for context.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I know that this is a familiar matter to those who observed our recent meeting where we took this up for first reading. This is a proposed rezoning of a parcel to allow for the relocation of a window fabrication facility from Auburn Hills, where it currently operates, to a parcel right on Perry Street. And this is a manufacturing facility that already at its Auburn Hills location employs a large number of Pontiac residents. In fact, the large majority of its employees currently are Pontiac residents. It's looking to expand and grow and about double the number of employees that it has, so it's a great opportunity for more Pontiac residents to get employment opportunities close to home. I know that we went over a lot of these details when this was last on the agenda, but I want to turn it over to our planning manager, Mark Andrick, to get into some additional details and items that bear further emphasis.
Hey, Mark, before we continue, I need a motion and a second to adopt this ordinance. I'm sorry, I should have done it before I turned it over.
Okay.
Support.
Now we can continue.
Okay, thank you. So this is a conditional rezoning, application 24-001. It's at 1590 North Perry Street. The applicant is Contour Windows. The proposed use is a window fabrication facility, and the rezoning is from R1 to C3, which is corridor commercial. Tonight is the second reading. This is the process the applicant has gone through. And the first reading was held 2 weeks ago. And the 2 points I mentioned at the last meeting, but I want to reiterate, is this, there was a neighborhood meeting held in the council chambers on Monday, January 22nd, for the applicant to share the proposal and answer questions. And then this was also the first rezoning application that required a displayed sign at the site indicating the public hearing for the rezoning after City Council adopted the public hearing ordinance in January of this year. This is the location map of the property along Perry. Just for orientation, this is Perry Street right here. Pontiac Road is just off the map to the top. Giddings Road is just off the map to the left. This is Galloway Lake and Galloway Lake Park right here, and then this is Galloway Estates. There's a car wash that's located right here, if that helps people a little more understand the location of this parcel, or these parcels. This is the zoning map, just showing the current zoning and highlighting what is proposed to be rezoned. You have R1 for the park. You have R1A, which is larger lots for Galloway Lake Estates. But there's a lot of C1 and C3 zone properties along Perry Street as you look up and down the corridor here. I did want to identify the future land use map, which says that the frontage along Perry was meant to be entrepreneurial, industrial, commercial, and green, with the rear to be residential. As you can see, that beige color between the maroon and the lake itself. So the C3 zoning district is intended to provide for a mixture of uses that are appropriate along the thoroughfare and collector streets that have moderate to large traffic volumes. There are many uses that are permitted by right. We had this in the last application, and there are many uses that are permitted by special exception by Planning Commission, and those would be where Planning Commission would approve to see that these were reasonable uses. So the applicant's request here is really for an assembly facility for their glass contour windows, and so really this is not what I would call heavy manufacturing. There's not, it is going to be a building where there's going to be jobs and employment, but this is not what we would call heavy manufacturing. This is definitely assembly. Through the R1 zoning district that currently is there's a very limited amount of uses. Really, it's one family dwelling and certain compatible uses. And this site has been vacant for over 20 years since Galloway Lake Estates was first developed. At one time, it was meant to be a future add-on development, but nothing has come forward during these 25 years. Just for orientation, at the top picture is looking from the north to the south, looking at the car wash, and the site is, subject site is to the left here. And then on the bottom, you're looking at Giddings and Perry looking up to the north. And as you can tell, it's very wooded along the Perry Street corridor right now. So in general, as we've mentioned, R1 is less permissive than C3, but the C3 does provide a mixture of wide range of uses focused on retail, service, commercial, office, and light industrial uses such as, including bakeries, banks, restaurants, funeral homes, and whatnot. dimensional requirements are a little different for the C3, but many of these are really being offset by the applicant's conditions, which I will get into in a moment. I just wanted to share this for council's consideration of this application. So this is the concept site plan developed or prepared by the applicant. This is Perry Street. This is the lake to the bottom here. This is Galloway Lake Estates to the north, and then to the top, excuse me. And this is the lake to the right. This is the main building. This is not the final plan for the building. They're going to still need to go through a site plan process to determine the total square footage and determine the parking and stormwater. But this is the layout that they have proposed, where this would be located along Perry Street and fronting along the property. I do want to note that the applicant has offered some buffering, which I will talk about, between the parking and the residential property to Galloway Lake Estates. Also, the distance from the building to the property line of Galloway Lake Estates, and also some special considerations for the facade along the park. So I will get to that in a moment. But before that, I do want to, it's been discussed that this Contour Windows currently has a site over in Auburn Hills. This is Opdyke right here. This is Auburn Avenue. And this is the current site that the applicant has been for many years. And we just wanted to note the residential properties that are around it. And, you know, many people from staff and council have taken visits and just noticed that from the outside, you know, you really don't notice the intensity of the use of the building of what's being on inside. You know, there's proper sound buffering, and the two uses are definitely compatible with each other in this location. So let's get into the conditional rezoning. The applicant has offered 3 conditions with this rezoning. And so this would be approved with this ordinance tonight, and then there's a resolution to authorize the mayor to execute that agreement. So the condition number 1 is the property shall not be used for sale, grow, storage, transport, process, or manufacture of marijuana or marijuana products, pet boarding facilities, community service facilities, or any lodging uses. 2, any approved site plan for the property must contain the following: minimum building setback from Galloway Lake Estates, 100 feet. The buffer distance between Galloway Lake Estates and property shall be 30 feet, and that's the distance between the parking lot and the property line that would allow for green space and buffering. The required landscaping abutting Galloway Lake Estates shall exceed the requirements of the zoning ordinance by no less than 50%. So if they're required, you know, 2 trees, they would be putting in 3 trees as an example. A 4-foot berm, a 4-foot high berm, shall be constructed on the side of the property which abuts Galloway Lake Estates. And finally, the facade facing Galloway Lake Park shall be comprised of no less than 16% windows. And as I mentioned 2 weeks ago, this has been added from the applicant from the Planning Commission public hearing. The last use is contour windows shall not be entitled to use Pool Road for ingress and egress with the exception of emergency or fire access. And this is a request to maintain Pool Road with a gate. The fire department works in this in many locations, but it just allows for emergency access just in case an entrance would be blocked. And it would be not used on a regular basis. It would not be able to be used by employees or customers of Contour Windows. It would not be able to be used by anyone accessing Galloway Lake Estates trying to get a second egress. So if approved by City Council, this signed agreement would be recorded on the parcels. By state law, the applicant has 2 years to begin construction. Otherwise, the zoning district reverts back to the R1 zoning district. And the applicant revised the condition, as I mentioned, for 16%. It's really an enhancement that adds aesthetic value to the park as this is being built. So there are 10 standards of approval with the rezoning. There's analysis within your staff report if you would like to discuss any of these. Planning Commission's recommendation of this zoning map amendment was approval 6-0 with the conditions offered by the applicant. So that is my presentation. Again, the applicant is here this evening if you have any further questions, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir, for that presentation. At this time, I'm going to open it up for discussion. Council have any questions? Councilwoman James.
Could you show me where Pool Road is on your map?
This is probably the best one. So Pool Road really, it's not even a cul-de-sac, it's just a dead-end road currently right here, so it's a very, very small road.
Okay. And then, the other thing, I think that, just a comment, I think this is an appropriate use, reasonable request. I do appreciate the fact that the applicant, followed the process, especially in terms of meeting with the public, and getting their input. And I also think that the applicant has demonstrated good faith, in the concessions and the conditions that he has outlined to be able to work with us with Galloway Lake Park. So I strongly support the applicant's request.
Thank you, Councilwoman James. Any other rest of the council? At this time, can we have the applicant come to the podium, please?
Good evening.
Yes, thank you for coming again tonight. I know last time we discussed this particular item, you made a reference that most of your staff was from the city of Pontiac?
Correct.
And what percentage did you get of it? And that's something that's not mandatory, but since you mentioned that and brought it to the table, I just want to reiterate that for our community.
Sure. So right now we have about 96 people on our floor, and about 82 of them are Pontiac residents.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So this project is definitely something that's dear to your heart because you have also the business in Auburn Hills. And would this business be similar to the business you have in Auburn Hills, or would you be moving some of your Auburn Hills?
We would relocate the entire facility to Pontiac from Auburn Hills.
All right, thank you. Councilwoman Melanie Rutherford.
Yes, two questions. First of all, I commend you for actually doing what you said you were going to do. One, that's the first comment. My first question is again, to reiterate exactly how much of the actual job is going to start offering, what was the pay scale, and is there room for people to escalate to move higher in the company? Those are my two questions.
Yes. So pay scale starts about 15 an hour entry level, and we work up with over the years and time to increase the pay per the job qualifications and training.
And my follow-up to that would be this: Are you offering educational incentives for people that try to come work for your company? What I mean by that is, let's say if I start working and I say, "Hey, man, I want to get my degree," do you offer those incentives? And if so, what are those?
With the growth of the company, we are looking at different avenues to start offering that. Yes.
All right, thank you.
Council, any other questions? At this time, I'd like to close discussion. Again, I'd like to thank you for deciding to do business in the city of Pontiac. And we look forward to you being successful, a business owner. If this passed, I can only speak for myself, and here in the city of Pontiac. At this time, Clerk Doyle, can I have a roll call?
Rutherford,
Yes.
Carrington,
Yes.
Goodman,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Nicholson.
Yes.
5 yeas, no nays.
Thank you for your support.
All right, thank you. That adoption of amending the ordinance, the zoning ordinance passes. At this time, I want to ask this council for a point of privilege, if it's okay with council.
Yes.
And I just wanted to provide this community with analysis of the motion vote on March 19th, 2024, to postpone the vote on the Youth Recreational Center bid award until the date of March the 26th, 2024. It's been a lot of things about confusion. So I want to make sure that I discuss that openly to this community. Section 3.109 of the Pontiac Home Rule Charter states, council acts by ordinance or resolution. Section 3.1008 states that no action of the council shall be effective unless adopted by a majority of members serving. Council members serving is interpreted as the 7 elected members and not those present. The vote on March 19th was a motion to postpone an item to a date, which makes it a subsidiary motion under Robert Rules of Order. Similarly, the motion is not considered council action as defined in the charter because it was not a vote on a resolution or ordinance. That's significant because a subsidiary motion is not a main motion generally and only requires an affirmative vote of the majority of the members present. Robert Rules of Order, 12th edition, section 14.7, page 172. Alternatively, if the motion to vote on awarding the bid of the rec center was on the floor, you would need a majority of members serving for it to vote affirmative for it to pass. Therefore, the 3-to-1 vote on the motion to postpone to a date certain was valid to move the item to the following week. And I just want to make sure that I state this because it wasn't no confusion. Is that when things happen on the floor, the council members do not have time to pull out the charter or pull out the Robert Rules of Order book. So we usually take a recess so we can talk to the clerk or we talk to our city attorney. So I just want to make that be known. So I definitely like to thank Clerk Doyle and Attorney Gurley for assisting council last week. And thank you, council, for that point of privilege.
Point of information.
Yes.
That is an item that is on this agenda today, right?
Yes, later today.
So I'll be making a motion to postpone.
Okay, thank you. At this time, the first resolution is to authorize mayor and executive execute a conditional rezoning agreement regarding parcel ID 64-14-15 426-008, 64-14-15-426-016, 64-14-15-426-0022 1590 North Perry. I need a motion and a second to approve the resolution.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
I will now turn it over to Mayor Grimer for context.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a follow-on item to the last agenda item. This is an agenda item to give the administration the authority to sign the conditional rezoning agreement. As was presented on the last item, the applicant has agreed to a number of conditions that will make sure that this project is done in a way that really maximizes the benefit to the community and minimizes any challenges to neighboring parcels. And this agenda item would give us the authority to actually enter into an agreement, putting those conditions in place and making them legally enforceable. We have our planning manager here, Mark Yandrick. Mr. Yandrick, do you have anything to add?
No, I think you've covered everything. I'll be happy to entertain any questions council may have.
It's open for discussion. I'm going to give you a couple of more seconds. Well, I'm going to close the discussion if council don't have any.
Can you just briefly go over what we're being asked to vote on?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So with tonight's rezoning request, the applicant offered conditions, and per state law, there's a conditional rezoning agreement that needs to be formed, and it's actually executed and actually recorded on the property. So, you know, it helps to make it official by recording on the property. But tonight, this resolution before you allows the mayor to sign this conditional rezoning agreement on behalf of the city, and then the applicant signs it before it gets recorded. So it just makes it official and allows us to record it.
Councilwoman James, any other questions or follow-up?
So the applicant has offered these. The applicant has offered these rezoning conditions.
Correct.
And the city has accepted them through administration and planning.
Absolutely.
So we just need to approve authorizing the mayor or authorizing you to actually record what's been agreed to.
Absolutely, correct.
Okay, all right, thank you. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Councilwoman James. Council, are we all under the same understanding of what we are voting for tonight? Hearing no other further question, I close discussion. Clerk Doyle, can you have roll call, please?
Rutherford,
Yes.
Carrington,
Yes.
Goodman,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Nicholson.
Yes.
5 yeas, no nays.
That resolution passes. The next item is a resolution to authorize the sale of 494 Bloomfield, 19-04-107-021 and Highland Avenue, 19-04-159-004 to Pontiac Community Developers, LLC, for housing development in accordance with Section 3.113 of the City of Pontiac Charter, and to enter into purchase and development agreements. I need a motion and a second to approve this resolution.
So moved.
I will now turn it over to Mayor Grimer for context.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is an item that is in line with what we've been talking about quite a bit at recent city council meetings over the past several months, which is our desire to make sure that we get vacant city-owned parcels back into private hands and back into productive use. As we've discussed in the past, we do have a side lot program which allows homeowners to buy adjacent parcels, not just on the side of their properties, but anywhere that's adjacent to their parcel if they want to expand their property, and that's a really great deal for homeowners here in the city. But we also want to make sure that we're getting parcels that are slated for housing development. We have a major housing shortage throughout the city of Pontiac. That's true really throughout the entire country right now. And these two parcels are being proposed to be conveyed to a housing developer who will build single-family houses on them. And with that, I want to turn it over to our Economic Development Manager, Deborah Younger.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. As the Mayor indicated, we're proactively seeking to redevelop lots that can be returned to productive reuse. The two lots in question had houses on them. I'll show you pictures of them. The steps are still there on one of them. So this is exciting that we're going to be able to put new residential housing on it. The developer, Pontiac LLC, has provided us with evidence of financing to move forward. We are proposing a one-year development agreement with a reverter clause. So in fact, if they do not go forward, the property will revert to the city. We're proposing a purchase price of $1,000 per each. We do this to make affordable housing actually occur in the city. We could, potentially sell the lots for a higher value, but the fact remains is that we know the cost of the construction, the supply chain demand makes us want to do things that incentivize developers to return to Pontiac and build on those lots. So hence, we're proposing the development of these two lots. This is the first lot in question. As you can see, the steps are still there from whatever was there before. It's a nice development lot. This is 494 Bloomfield. Here it is on the parcel map. The second lot is untitled. It doesn't have an address on Highland Avenue. As you can see, there are houses beside it and behind it, also leading itself for infill development. There's the parcel map. This is a rough schematic, of course, of what type of house will be built, second, and a schematic of the floor plan. Before the project can proceed, part of the development agreement requires the developer to seek the proper variances.
You speak up a little louder. I know that it's kind of hard, but it's also hard for us to, hear
I'm sorry.
The whole presentation.
Okay, I apologize. I can be loud, so I'll do that. So what I'm saying is that the developer, prior to pulling building permits, has to go through the plan and site plan and any variances. This is all part of the development agreement. So we're not approving the actual house tonight. We're only approving the sale of the parcels with a reverter clause that allows the parcels to return to the city if they're not developed.
Okay, thank you. At this time, Council, you have any questions? Councilwoman Melanie Rutherford.
Good evening, Ms. Deborah Younger. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
How's your feet feeling? All right?
Yeah, I'm not going to kick anything anytime soon.
Good. My question is this. This developer has already shown that they have funding for these projects, meaning that they're not going to just sit on it like we've had in the past, not in this administration, but in previous times people have bought large amounts of lots, never done anything to it, never brought it back on the tax roll. And so they have showed you, like they actually have it in their accounts.
Yes, I got a letter from First Merchants Bank verifying that they have in excess of $500,000 in the bank account.
All right, so my only other question would be this. There's a house that's on California Street. It's not even developed. A person bought a lot here. The price for it is $239,000 that they're going to be asking. What is the actual price that they're going to be offering, asking for these particular houses? And the reason why I'm asking that, because the house that's being not even built, but it's supposed to be built on California Street for $239,000 some odd change, is only 942 square feet. So we're talking about affordable or attainable, because there's a difference. So what is the actual price margin of the house they're supposed to build?
The developer is here who can also address that. I believe there is, on what his sales price, he projects his sales price to be. I believe this is attainable as opposed to affordable.
Thank you.
But it is also 1,500 to 1,600 square feet, so it is not.
I'm sorry, could you repeat what you're saying, please?
The proposed development house is 1,500 to 1,600 square feet. It's attainable housing, and the definition of attainable varies depending on who you ask, but I believe they're offering it at a sales price that will be affordable to a broad range of Pontiac residents, whether existing or future residents of Pontiac. And the developer is here to answer further questions.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Thank you for your time. Al Sabi with Pontiac Community Developers. To answer your question, we don't have a firm price, but I can guarantee you it's going to be in low 200s, way below appraisal value, and we are planning on taking advantage of existing affordable housing programs, including the DPA. So our goal is to offer it at significantly less than market value.
So,
You want a follow-up question?
oh yeah,
Councilwoman?
this
Okay.
follow-up.
Okay.
You just stated it will be low 200,000s.
Correct, but we're talking.
Let me ask this question.
Sure.
The average income of the average household in the city of Pontiac is $26,000 odd. That house is not being offered to those people. The average people cannot afford a house rental payment no more or no less than $1,000. So who are you catering to? Because that's my district, first of all. Second of all, I want people in my district who have dreams of affordability and attainable housing to actually be able to afford it, and $200,000 ain't gonna cut it for me.
Correct. Well, we're trying to cater for lower income. When we're looking at the down payment assistance program, the monthly mortgage payments we're estimating on such a deal would be around $1,200 to $1,400 a month. For a 1,600 square foot house with 1.5 attached garage and 3 bedrooms. So for an average family with an AMI at 80%, they can afford this house in around $1,450 a month for 80% AMI.
You still haven't answered my question. Who is this house being catered to? I'm sorry, he didn't answer.
I understand.
This is being catered to the city of Pontiac residents mainly, and any other populations trying to move in the city from different neighborhoods. Our most recent sale for a similar house in the city of Pontiac was for $220,000, and that was also for a city of Pontiac resident.
Councilwoman, I'm saying you had a floor, so.
You're referring to the house on Franklin, correct?
Correct, yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, I got my answer. Thank you.
Any other questions, Council? Councilwoman James.
I know that your development plan, this question is for Manager. I was wondering if you have that in writing. The development agreement is not part of our package, but I'm assuming that this is in writing, the development agreement you have with them and the reverter clause?
Yeah, yes, we put them in all our development agreements, reverter clause, as well as what they agreed to do. And to further answer the applicant's, the councilwoman's question, actually the purchase price with down payment assistance would be affordable to 80% AMI, which is considered moderate income for the city of Pontiac.
Okay. Who are the keepers of the development agreements? When we make these, is Is it planning? Is it economic development? Where are they kept?
Economic development keeps the development agreement, but it's also augmented by any agreements that are through the planning division as well. So we jointly keep some, depends on the process and who's on first. In this instance, I have incorporated into the development agreement the initial things that planning has asked for. If planning deems further things, because this hasn't gone to site plan review, then planning will have a agreement with regard to what they have to fulfill for site plan. But the purchase and development agreements setting forth the requirements are kept in economic development, with the exception of any requirements of the planning division.
Okay.
Any other question from the council? Councilwoman Rutherford for the second time.
Now, okay. I want housing. Everybody knows that was the platform I ran on. I'm not feeling this price range. I'm not. And I know people who, being that I just bought a home, and my house was $150 in District 1, and that house that you sold on Franklin was $220. The house in California, they sell them for $239. I don't know, and I have a nice, you know that, a very nice credit score. I don't know that many folks that can afford this house. So for me, you know, it's a hard no. I can't support this one because I didn't get to vote on that one on Franklin, but I get to vote on this one, and this just don't make sense to me. Not the price range. I'm sorry. That's it. It's just a statement.
Any other council members have any questions? I just want to say it's important that we do housing for all crosswalk of our community. We have young professionals that are buying homes in Auburn Hills and outside communities because they don't have any housing options. Everyone in the city of Pontiac is not at $26,000. We have a lot of professionals in this city, and we need to find housing for every citizen in our community. This gentleman has money in the bank to build these houses. He's making 1,500 square feet homes. These are not small homes. These is not homes that we just gonna move into a community and they're not gonna adapt to our overall community. These are homes for homeowners. Everyone cannot afford it. I can't afford a $300,000 home in the city of Pontiac. I cannot. But I definitely can afford the home I live in because I bought it, right? So we have a lot of options. We have to have options. And I agree with the councilwoman, is that most people in the city of Pontiac probably will not be able to afford this particular price range. But we have to have a price range for every citizen in our community. So it's definitely, you'll get your opportunity. So it's definitely, we need to make sure that we have housing for everyone. And I close on that statement. Now you have the floor for the third time.
Thank you. So I get that. I hear that. I also know that most people, when they get these houses, if they do not have the funds to maintain them, there's a large percentage of them that lose it between 18 to 24 months. So that's the part that I'm worried about. It's not that people can't get in it. It's that if it's a 7.6 interest on mortgages right now, because that's the interest rate. Am I not correct?
You're correct.
I'm correct. So if I make $72,000, the interest rate is 7.6. It's supposed to rise at least to about 8 by the third quarter. I possibly could get in this house in June when it's built, and then be homeless within 18 to 24 months. And so it's not that I don't understand what you're trying to do. I just don't understand if the market can sustain that. Because you're saying that you want developers, but I want people that are returning people from this community that went to Howard or Hampton or Tennessee State who want to be able to afford their first time home purchase. And that ain't it. It just ain't it.
Well, actually, you need to come back to the floor. I don't want the talking back and forth.
I'm not arguing.
Okay,
I agree. I'm sorry.
Councilwoman, do you have any other question, or that's it?
I don't have any other questions.
All right, thank you. Now you have the floor, sir.
I'm in 100% agreement, and we are solving. I'm trying to solve for what you're talking about. I'm trying to have the lowest sticker price on a new construction house in Oakland County and anywhere around. And we're moving there one by one, but it doesn't make a lot of sense for us to build an 800 square foot house and stay at a competitive price. If you look at the house you mentioned in California or any other houses, they're selling for significantly more price per square foot, and I understand that, but what we're trying to solve for is literally the smallest house for the most affordable cost that we could put on the market. Unfortunately, it happens that, the cost is around this today, but our goal is to be able to scale this up to where we're building 10 houses at a time in the city of Pontiac, then my cost will also go down again.
Yes, thank you. Ms. Younger, so again, how long do they have to build these homes once it goes through planning?
1 year.
They have 1 year?
Correct.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you for any, council have any other discussion, questions concerning this particular item? Hearing none. At this time, again, this is a resolution to approve the selling of 494 Bloomfield and at 19-04 107-021 and Highland Avenue, 19-04-159-004 to the Pontiac Community Developers LLC for housing development in accordance with Section 3.113 of the City of Pontiac Charter and enter into the purchase and development agreements. So we are giving the mayor the authorization to enter into these agreements. If the council has no more questions, clerk, can we have a roll call?
Carrington,
Yes.
Goodman,
No.
James,
Yes.
Nicholson. Yes. Rutherford.
No.
3 yeas, 2 nays, so action fails.
That resolution fails. Thank you. The next item is from the mayor's office. Resolution to adopt Oakland County multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan. I need a motion and second to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Support.
I will now turn it over to the mayor, Brian, for context.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a proposal to approve the Oakland County Multi-Jurisdiction Hazard Mitigation Plan. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, requires counties in the country to update their emergency management plan every 5 years. And as part of that process, every municipality in Oakland County is asked to approve Oakland County's proposed emergency management plan. And with that, I'll turn it over to our deputy mayor for some additional information and details.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, there is not too much more to add to that other than to unfortunately reference the tragedy that we all woke up to this morning in Baltimore. Being part of this plan would actually allow that if there was something like that to happen in Pontiac, we would actually be able to receive funds through Oakland County as part of that, as part of being incorporated into this plan. If you look, we just have a summary of it, but if you look at the back, Chapter 2, Plan Process 2 through 15, you see all of the cities listed there, and there is a need for a resolution for the communities to adopt the plan. And if you were to look earlier in the plan, in the past, the city of Pontiac has in fact adopted this plan as well, as you see a yes by our name in Chapter 1, Introduction 1 through 2. So again, the idea is that the city of Pontiac would be adopting this plan so that we would be eligible to receive funding through FEMA if something were to happen in the city.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'm going to open up the discussion. Council have any questions concerning this particular plan? Hearing none, this is an item that in the past we have authorized the administration to be a part of this mitigation plan. So if we don't have any other questions, I'll have clerk do roll call.
Goodman,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Nicholson,
Yes.
Rutherford,
Yes.
Carrington.
Yes,
5 yeas, no nays.
that resolution passes. Item 6, resolution to partner with Oakland County Land Bank Authority for demolition of McCurl School.
So moved.
I need a motion and a second to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Thank you. Now I will turn it over to Mayor Brown for context.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a proposal to authorize the city to partner with the Oakland County Land Bank to provide for the demolition of the old McCarroll School. As everyone is aware, this is a site that was purchased by the city for the future home of our youth recreation center. And as we prepare for that design process and construction process, this building, at least the vast majority of this building and probably the entirety of this old school need to be demolished. And the Oakland County Land Bank has been very generous in offering to support that to the tune of $500,000. While that amount alone is probably not quite enough to get it done, it is enough to pay for the large majority of the demolition costs. I want to thank the Deputy Mayor for his leadership in securing this opportunity for the city. As many of you know, the Deputy Mayor is on the board of the Oakland County Land Bank and has been a terrific advocate for this opportunity to help defray the large majority of the city's costs. Deputy Mayor, any additional information to share?
Thank you, Mayor. The only additional information that I would like to point out is if you look at the numbers in the resolution, you see that Oakland County estimates approximately $750,000 as the cost, and they are bringing forward $500,000, which means that the gap is only $250,000, but I've asked for a not to exceed of $300,000. That is to make sure that if there's any contingencies that had not been accounted for, we don't have to come back and quibble. It should leave enough room in there for us to actually get this torn down. The other thing that I would say is when we were going to tear this down ourselves, we of course would have had to pay the full $750,000 cost. And additionally, we were probably going to end up using some sort of federal dollars, which means that we would have had to go through an additional process, which would have taken longer for us to get this torn down. I've spoken with the Oakland County Land Bank Authority. The funds that they are getting are not subject to some of the state historic preservation laws, which means that once we agree to this, they should be able to start the demolition process, which begins with environmental remediation within 60 days.
All right, thank you, Deputy Mayor. Also, if you're in the chambers, could you just please go to a lighter whisper? It's kind of hard to hear the presentation. So again, thank you, and I appreciate you understanding. Council, I'm open up for discussion. Any question? Councilwoman James.
Yes, Deputy Mayor, if you could just give us a preliminary of timing for I realize you don't have the actual, but just give us a preliminary of when we can expect to see that started and completed.
Absolutely. So this was a late addition to your package, and it was a late addition to your package because although the money is already approved for Oakland County, they need to make a formal application to get that money, and they needed our statement in order to accompany their package. So this application will be made on 3/31. It should take about a week or so for them to officially receive notification from the state that they are in fact getting the funds. Once they do that, Oakland County will then be able to officially go out and procure a company to do the official demolition. And so again, that when I said about 60 days from the time that we approve this, that is what that time frame would be. About 60 days from today, we should see someone at the property beginning the environmental remediations.
Okay. So 60 days from the time that they get the monies from
Yes,
the
ma'am.
state. So we're looking at just tentatively that we could possibly have that down by the end of summer.
Correct, ma'am.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Councilwoman Melanie Rutherford.
Well, good evening. Question is very simple to the administration. Is that in writing that it will be down in the summer? Because we have a tendency that if we approve this, that they're going to say that it's going to be done at this timeline, and then summer will come, and it'll still be up. And I'm going to be very, very upset because that's a building and facilities issue, and we've been talking about this. Although I'm very happy you got the funds. Shouts out to you. I want it in writing that it will be down by the end of the summer. Can that be a guarantee?
I can ask for that in writing.
I can't hear you, sir. Turn your mic on.
I can ask for that in writing. I do not currently have it in writing, but I can ask for that, yes.
Would there be I'm sorry, ma'am.
Yep, you had the floor.
Would there be an issue if we were to follow up until it was in writing?
No, I mean, I can absolutely ask. That is.
No, what I'm saying is if we postponed it for a week, could it be put in writing? Because that's when I feel more comfortable.
So I would not suggest postponing this if you did not have to, because again, this is to be added to their official application to the state for those funds.
Okay.
Which is due before your next meeting.
Okay, so that just needs, but if we vote yes today, it could be done. Are you saying that?
If we vote yes today, it is my honest belief that there is no reason that by the end of this summer, that building should not be done. Because again, the type of funds that they are using are not subject to the long delay that the funds we're going to use would be subject to.
All right, thank you. I support it. Just want to know.
Council, any other questions concerning this particular issue? Hearing none. So again, what we're voting on is to a resolution to partner with Oakland County Land Bank Authority for demolition of McCurl School. We have a motion and a second. Clerk, could you please have roll call?
James,
Yes.
Nicholson. Yes. Rutherford,
Yes.
Carrington,
Yes.
Goodman.
Yes.
5 yeas, no nays.
That resolution passed, and again, thank you, administration, for working on this to get us funds to help in the demolition of McCurl School. Thank you. At this time, a resolution to approve the purchase of 6 trucks using the State of Michigan My Deal Cooperative, number 071B770180. The quotes are valid for 2024 in accordance with the My Deal Vehicle Purchasing Program. I need a motion and a second to approve this resolution.
So moved.
I will now turn it over for Mayor Grimer for context.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is an important item in terms of making sure that our Parks field staff have the equipment that they need to properly do their job. We didn't have any park staff for the past, about 10, 11, maybe 12 years before we reconstituted our Parks and Recreation Department last year. And as a result of the emergency manager dismembering the city and selling our vehicles, as well as eliminating any functionality to our Parks and Recreation Department, we don't have vehicles for the staff. We brought back on board the staff last year. Now they need the equipment. Having said all that, I would ask that this be postponed 1 week because we need to correct the source of funding and the GL account number.
All right. Before we postpone it, Council, you have any questions concerning these vehicles? Hearing none. Could I get a motion to postpone?
So moved.
Well, y'all were moving fast. I can't even get it out of my mouth. Get it out of my mouth. It's been moved by Councilwoman Rutherford, second by Councilman Goodman, to postpone. I'm sorry, it was Nicholson, to postpone the approval of the purchase of 6 vehicles using the State of Michigan My Deal Cooperative. Any discussion? We will postpone it until next. Mayor, we have enough time for the next meeting to?
We will.
Okay.
Yes, 1 week is
we will postpone it to our next meeting. Clerk for roll call.
Nicholson.
Yes.
Rutherford,
Yes.
Carrington,
Yes.
Goodman,
Yes.
James.
Yes.
5 yeas, no nays.
All right, thank you. That resolution is postponed for 1 week. The next item is a resolution of approving the mayor or deputy mayor to award the bid and execute the AIA document B133-219 contract with Racer Mercer to design a youth community recreational center. This item was postponed from March 19th, 2024. We previously had a motion, a move and support for this item last week, so we don't need another one tonight. I will now turn it over to Mayor Grimal for context.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. A couple of items here. First of all, we need to make a couple of tweaks to the contract. So I am proposing that this not be voted on tonight, but that we postpone it so that we can make those changes to the contract and make sure that those are provided to City Council ahead of time. Having said that, we do have a representative of the architectural firm here, of one of the two architectural firms here, and so I want to give him an opportunity to present. I think that'll have the added benefit that to the extent that council members have any questions about that presentation, we can also make sure that that information is provided to council well in advance of the meeting when this will be taken up. I want to emphasize in response to some of the questions posed by members of the audience that there is really a team here that presented and that we would be hiring. About 50% of that team's work would be done by architects. The other 50% would be done by other consultants, including engineers and others. Of that 50% of the work that would be done by architects, half of that would be done by the Racer MRSA group, which, as has been noted, is based in Illinois, but the other half of that architectural work would be done by their partner, which is the Hobbs and Black group based here in Michigan in Ann Arbor. So this is very much a team effort. That was not unusual, by the way, in terms of the proposals that we received for the design work for this center. Virtually every single proposal involved a team of designers, consultants, architects, engineers, and so this is very much in line with that. But I really do want to emphasize that obviously we need to contract with one entity, but there are two architects involved in this project, both Racer and Hobbs and Black. They'll each be doing approximately half of the work, and Hobbs and Black is based here in Michigan. And with that, I'd like to offer an opportunity to Mr. Benson, who is with Racer MRSA, to do a presentation about his firm, the working relationship that they have with Hobbs and Black, and the other team members that'll be part of this design process.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
I've got little kids and they won't stop licking the doorknobs, so my voice is a little off. As the mayor said, it's a team, Hobbs and Black, and I've worked together before, most recently on the Western Michigan University Student Center. We've also got a strong team, and a number of members of the team are here. Those of you on the team, if you want to raise your hand, sitting over there. IMEG, a renowned engineering firm with an office in Michigan, Scales and Associates, Robin, also on the team, and we have Somat George, a longtime minority business enterprise Michigan firm, and I believe Oakland County resident, as he mentioned previously. We also have Spalding de Decker and Site Design. Spalding de Decker does civil, and the landscape firm Site is minority business enterprise. The pool, WTI, is a nationally recognized aquatic engineering firm, and Baker Group also worked on the Western Michigan University project, does food service. The timeline, and I think that's going to be a big part of this project, getting it done quickly, starts off with a crazy idea, sometimes on a napkin, goes to a computer rendering in the lower left, and then that's a photograph on the lower right. This is a high school designed in Florida. I want to know how long it takes to get that process. And essentially, it begins with schematic design and a city review. We are also absolutely supportive in recommending hiring a CM as soon as possible to help make sure that what we're designing is within the budget and makes sense. From that, once you define the project, the scope, the size, and everything throughout that, you move to design development. You'll notice there's community bars in the upper section of each segment of the schedule. That's interaction with community. We believe fully that having the community participate in the design process directly is essential to making sure the best, the most exciting project is developed. Construction documents, that's the part where we really detail what the contractors will use to build it. And that's going to take, this all adds up to about just a few days over a year. We can't really set what the construction period is. We'd like to do that as architects, but we really shouldn't. That's for the contractors. And it's possible that we could start some of it early, depending on how we structure the process. But that's the general idea from our end of things. Design a community, making sure that you make use of every square foot is really critical for projects. We do like to design big, interesting entries, the kinds of buildings that people want to go into. This right here, again, is that high school I showed you previously. We've had several folks request to rent it out for weddings as an entry. But just making grand public space where people are comfortable and want to be and hang out is critical. Making projects that glow, that attract new residents is also something we're interested in pursuing. And then understanding, athletic facilities, whether it's a basketball court or a swimming pool, having natural light, but the right natural light so that it's not distracting to the activity, but is uplifting, is also really important to architecture. And then also remembering the spaces in between the spaces, and also, trying to involve the entire community, the young, the old, everyone together should be able to find a place that they can enjoy in that facility. And for us, the heroic architectural photograph and making architecture beautiful is super important to us. But I think, and being recognized as part of that is great, but the reality is the reason we do what we do is because we're trying to create places for people to enjoy their lives and for them to know each other and have memorable moments. And I'll tell you, I finished a building during the pandemic, and I was with the photographer, and because of the pandemic, we reduced the crew, and I went into the shades to lift the shades out of the way for the photograph, and there was a student sitting in the room. And he said, "Are you the photographer?" And I said, no, I'm not the photographer. I'm just lifting the shades. I'm sorry to bother you. Let me get out of here. And he said, "No, well then, if you're not the photographer, what are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I actually was the architect for this." And he thanked me because he had no classes in that building. He just loved to be there. And he said, "Every day I come here because it's a special place and I really appreciate it." That kind of sentiment means more to us than any award or any other recognition we could get. And when people can come together and connect with each other, and have a moment of civility and joy, that's why we do what we do. So we really mean it when we say design with rather than for. We bring the kids together, we bring the people who are going to be using the building together, and we get their ideas and we work with them. We do a lot of the research, quantitative, to make sure we understand what the square feet are doing and what they will cost. The qualitative, about the spirit of the place, is absolutely just as essential. We balance these two things. We have workshops and ways to outreach to the community and reach as many people as possible, but organize their input in a way that makes sense to the stakeholders so that decisions can be made. And for Western Michigan, for instance, we really tracked how much of that we did with the student affinity groups, and it was quite a bit. And it's not just the formal workshops. Sometimes it's just intercepts, people walking by in the neighborhood or at a function or at another basketball game. And we take all that information and that data and we try to drive design intuition with it. And one story to tell, this young man, we asked about junior high student, what he thought college might be like for the Western Michigan building. He drew this big, wonderful central space with a huge stair. He pointed out the elevator. He pointed out the natural light. He included bathrooms, but he said there needs to be food. It needs to be welcoming to everybody. And that's the space that we created as part of that process. And there is a lift. It's hard to see because we detailed it nicely, but absolutely every person can get to every level in that stair, so no one is precluded. There is plenty of natural light, and it's wonderful to watch Western Michigan use that space in all the different ways that we couldn't have even anticipated. And we took the feedback below it for the affinity spaces, and we literally changed some of the composition based not only it's not just the first day, it's through the process of the drawings. In the middle of the project, they asked for some changes, and we heard them and we made them. And when we were preparing to interview for the project, we couldn't help ourselves start to notice the parks on either side and get excited about the potential connections. And these are horrific, messy doodles, but the team is really kind of talking about how the site operates, where there's some busy roads on one end and some quiet residential on the other. And we started thinking and dreaming about the possibilities. But this is really just helping us understand the scale of it so we can talk about it. We don't make any assumptions. We approach it with a clean slate and listen to the folks that we meet with and what they have to say about the project. So for us, it's designing with rather than for, and it's focusing on an architecture that welcomes, includes, and inspires. The next steps would be getting the approval to proceed, and then focusing on getting the CM on board, as well as we start the programming and outreach process. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I know myself and Councilwoman James actually were part of the interview process. And again, it was definitely some great proposals. And I actually commend you guys on putting together a great proposal as well during the interview process. At this time, Council, do you have any questions? I'm open up for discussion. Councilwoman James.
I don't have any questions. I just have a comment that was made that I have from the comments that were made earlier in regards to, looking at how we made the decision. And it was a very difficult decision to make. But I have to say, as an individual council person, that, we had priorities that we were looking at. We had certain things that we were looking at in making this decision. And I'll have to tell you that having the company be a Michigan company was not our #1 priority. And I guess I'm not embarrassed to say that, because I think when something is important to us, you're going to look for the best. If you're sick, you're not going to ask the doctor, is he a Pontiac doctor? You're going to look for the doctor who is best in the position to treat what's wrong with you. So I'll have to say that even though that may sound like it's an important consideration, it certainly was not one of our highest priorities. I think our highest priorities was to find a firm that was absolutely competent, that had the design skills that we wanted, that had the concept of timing, that could appreciate the fact that we want to get started with this work as quickly as possible. We want to get this building up for the citizens of Pontiac. So a company that has an amazing sense of timing and able to actually drive that timing. Those were some of the things. The cost, the price, the price tag for what we're trying to do. Those were my top priorities. And of course, we definitely want residents to be involved in it. So community engagement is going to be very important. We want to hear what our community wants to see in that building. But we wanted a top-notch company that would be able to provide what our residents have every right to expect.
Thank you, Councilwoman James. Any other council want to, this discussion, any other council members have any questions concerning this process? Administration, need to add anything before we postpone? Hearing none. Again, thank you, sir, and thank you guys for flying in.
Thank you.
Were you the one gentleman that flew in? I know a lot of you guys are already here in Michigan.
No, I'm the only one that flew in.
Oh, you
Everybody
don't?
else is
Okay.
local.
I thought we was waiting on a whole panel of people that got on a plane today. So, so thank you for flying in to here to see us today. Councilwoman Rutherford.
I want to make a motion to postpone this indefinitely.
Yes, I'll second that. Yeah, well,
Can I
I'm about to explain.
Oh, you want to do it? Okay.
And definitely, we're just giving the administration more time to work out the kinks of this particular contract, so it'll be correct. So, and definitely doesn't mean that it's not coming back to the table. It means that I don't want to put a date on it because I don't want to have to postpone again.
Yes.
So I'm give all the lead time to the administration and the publishing. I mean, not the publishing, but the proper departments to do their due diligence, and we have a document in front of the council as soon as it's ready that we can make some intelligent decisions on. So again, thank you for understanding.
Did you second it?
Yes, I second.
Okay.
So, Clerk Doyle, could you please have roll call?
Rutherford,
Yes.
Carrington,
Yes.
Goodman,
Yes.
James,
Yes?
Nicholson.
Yes.
5 yeas, no nays.
Again, thank you. At this time, it's one of the most important parts of our agenda tonight is public comment. So I'm going to turn it over to Councilwoman Rutherford for public comment.
With
Thank
my
you.
gavel. I get my gavel.
You want the gavel?
Give me
Okay,
my
you give me the gavel.
Public comment allows individuals to comment on items not specific to the agenda items. The council allows you 3 minutes to give public comments. Failure to adhere to council rules at the meeting may result in forfeiture of your public comments time at that meeting. Our first speaker will be Paula Buckhalter. Okay.
Please make sure the mic is on. To the right down, you can touch the button. It should. There you go. Thank you.
Testing. Can you everybody hear me? All right. Good evening, everybody. Am I on the clock? I'm on the clock. And I'm here to tell you about being on the clock because I am representing the Detroit Sports Commission because Detroit is now 30 days out from the NFL draft. So you ask, why do we care? Because we're Pontiac. I'm going to tell you why you should care, because Pontiac is on the clock. Next Tuesday, a week from today, at Pontiac High School, we'll be hosting a community event to get the residents of Pontiac excited about the draft. So we've been going to communities around the southeastern part of Michigan. We've done Detroit and the rec centers. So excited to hear about the news of a coming rec center here so we can have these kinds of great events there. But we're in partnership with Oakland County Sheriff Powell to offer a free football clinic from 5:30 to 7:30. We've got all types of vendors coming out from Safe and Just Michigan, Uncle Jerry's Barbecue. We're just going to have a great time. We've got the mayor who will give us a couple of remarks, representatives from Visit Detroit. I'm working on Lomas Brown to bring his WJR Sports Rap show to do a live taping. Was on a call today with Pencil Lewis College, an HBCU here in Detroit that specializes in the design and marketing of sneakers. And they're going to offer a free workshop for our youth from 8th to 12th grade to learn about that. So I just want to let you know that this is coming, and you'll ask, why do I care and what can I do? I'll tell you why you should care, because this event is going to bring some 300,000 folks to Michigan, and it's going to be a national spotlight that will be shown on not just Detroit, but our whole South region area. And I just want you to help us spread the word. I'm a Pontiac native. I'm very proud to come back home here after working in sports for many, many years and to share these talents with my home city. So questions, comments, criticisms, concerns? I got flyers.
At this time, it's only public comment. So.
Oh, that's all?
Yes,
that's
it.
Oh,
You
wait.
only can
I'm going to
speak.
stretch this out then. Let's see. We're going to have free cupcakes. We're going to have a SWAT truck and drones. We're going to have a photo booth. We're going to have Miss Amelia teaching hustle classes. Anything that you can think of that you want is going to be happening. We got Parks and Rec bringing out inflatables, all free, 5:30 to 7:30. Pontiac High School. I still got time. What else can I say? Hey, let me tell you something about the draft in Detroit that a lot of folks don't know. One, you don't have to be a football fan, because all those things that we're doing in Pontiac next week, we're going to be doing down in Detroit. 3 days, totally free. We're going to have shuttles to get you down to the footprint in downtown Detroit, and we've got an overflow area over in Corner Ballpark in Corktown. You will not gavel me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I am off the clock. Thank you.
All right.
Good job, ma'am. Next speaker will be Mr. Robert Bass. Your mic isn't on, sir.
Good evening. My name is Robert Bass, President of the Citizen District Council. I'm going to talk fast because I got to get to an important issue. I want to congratulate you ladies for getting your roses tonight, and I want to congratulate Lancaster for doing a great job yesterday in their meeting. Now, what I really wanted to get through, I don't particularly care for this land sale and development agreement. She did say tonight that y'all could separate it, but you still passed it. When you do that, we don't get our say on whether we like it or not. Whether how y'all pass it after we say what we have to say is okay. That's okay with us. That's y'all's job. But you're knocking us out of our say as to whether we like it or not. So with that, I want to go back to what I came last week for. It's about this citizen participation plan for the city of Pontiac and consolidated plan and community development block grant agreement home program. Now, that paper, those papers that the city has drawn up, the plan that they've drawn up, I went back yesterday to try to get it so we would have time to read it and match it up to what we had. It was not ready. It won't be ready until next week. Of course, you know next week is the 2nd. Y'all's next meeting is the 2nd, and that's the first public reading. I would request that y'all stop that first reading, delay it until after the 2nd reading, which would be your first reading then, and then have the 2nd. Give us time to go through that document, go through ours to see how it matches up or don't match up. Because basically what I'm saying, I know what's in our document. Our document was done by the city council, and it assures all the residents of being inclusive of this consolidated plan. It ensures that all resident groups are in this consolidated plan. It also makes sure that everybody understands what the CDC is and how it makes up the coordinating council, which is the oversight committee. So everybody in the city is oversight for this program. But I don't know that in the papers that they're fin to release because they didn't use any of our documents to make up that document. You went on the word of Oakland County and a couple of other organizations, and I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Dr. Deidre Waterman. And after that will be Billy Swayzer.
So, Council, you decided to indefinitely postpone the vote and consideration for the designers who are here. Too bad that you couldn't have had the information in the packet this week for consideration. And just to remind you again, the things that we had questions about is that the bids, you generally had the bids in the packets for important bids such as this. So I don't know why this couldn't have been there this time. And hopefully it's there the next time so you have a chance to look over there and the public gets a chance to see. Very impressive presentation, I must admit. My question is, how much did that building cost that you're showing us as an example of what you're going to do in the city of Pontiac? You know, the mayor has a lot of shoes to fill in terms of getting this youth recreation center. You may not know the history of Pontiac, but the emergency manager was here before I came, closed all 4 of our youth rec centers. Okay, we got one open, and then the mayor closed that one. So, emergency manager closed one, he closed four, he closed one. So that's why the citizens of Pontiac who voted for that millage wanted to make sure that they would have a site for their kids, some ownership, and get that together. So that was very important. And when they talk about citizen participation, I'd like to let you know that there has been a lot of citizen participation in terms of this youth rec center, which is important and vital to the citizens of Pontiac. We had 250 people at the Wisner Center, one time when we were considering what we wanted in terms of a regular and permanent youth center for the city of Pontiac. We had all other kinds of town halls. So when you talk about citizen participation, we also have a feasibility study we did in which there were 200 stakeholders who were part of that. So I hope you start with that and consider the citizen participation. Not only that, but there were so many people who really advocated for that millage with the hope that they would bring a wonderful youth center to the city of Pontiac. So that's important to us, and that's one of the things that was a project that I was hopeful that we could bring to the city of Pontiac during the administration. So that's why there's a lot of talk about that. So that is what I'd like to say, and I hope the citizen participation is not, we have Mr. Bass talking about that, but also when I'm mentioning the Citizen Participation Council, I understood that it was announced, heard a couple days ago, that they're going to have citizen participation about the designers are coming to do the 10 parks, the little parks and neighborhood parks, and supposedly those are all going to be done in one day. What kind of citizen participation is that? 10 parks, in the space of 1 or 2 days. So let's talk about real citizen participation, and that's what I hope we will be doing as we come to this long-hallowed recreation center. Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Billy Swayzer, and after that will be Carlton Jones.
Hello, I'm Billy Swayzer. On Monday, the votes were totaled for the Pontiac General Employees Retirement System. We had a vote from the retirees to determine who was the trustee will be continuing. The votes were Myra Allen, 9 votes, William Bell Jr., 115 votes, Billy Swayzer, 151 votes, Linda Watson, 57, there were 14, and valid ballots were a total of 346 ballots that were cast. I want to thank everyone who participated in the voting and who took part in it. It's unfortunate that we didn't have more because there's about 1,000 retirees, and votes were sent out to each one and every one of them. All you had to do was mark your ballot, put the ballot in the envelope, put a stamp on the front, print your name and sign your name and send it back. It's unfortunate that we don't have a higher participation in something so important because your pension is important to you. If you didn't get a pension, some of us would be really poor. But thank you all for everyone who voted and for especially those who voted for me. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. So next speaker will be Carlton Jones. After that will be Clifton Thompson.
Yeah, good evening again. Do a little house cleaning. I truly believe that the words that came from Councilwoman James were very sincere. I think that the presentation spoke for itself. Maybe the group did not think it was important for Michigan folks, but seems like that lead person did, because they had quite a few other lead Michigan people on the team. So I think they realize when they come into an area that they do have to have inclusion locally, especially with the type of funding we're talking about for that project. And also I want to do a little house cleaning. When we start talking about mixed housing, we got to think about what value that the housing have when you're trying to place it somewhere. And you just don't mix all that and maintain the value of home or think somebody's going to buy a home of real high value when the other homes around there don't match up. So I just want to do that for a little house cleaning. I got great news because we had our second annual celebration of Black achievement from the TDC group. And this is the second one we did. We recognized this year leaders engaging the community, past, present, and future. Basically, we want to talk about historic knowledge in our city. We know we've got a lot of new leaders, and we got young people, which we encourage to get engaged. But there is a lot of us who have historic knowledge in this city, and we like to recognize them. And it was 5 ladies, and it was one institution. Newman AME Church was the very first African-American church in Oakland County. And it's still standing right now and serving this community. And so we recognize that, and the leader there is a female, Reverend Yolanda Whiten. We recognize her, a woman doing Women's History Month. Also, Representative Brenda Carter. She's been a leader around here for years, and we recognized her as being a leader here in Michigan. Also, Gloria Miller. Gloria Miller been around here for years, serving this community, past, present, and for the future. And also, Beatrice Wright. She's been around here for years, serving this community and still serving this community. We had 5 other men also, but we really want to bring to light these women. But I do want to say, Mr. Northcross, Mr. Bass, Mr. Maxey, and J. Allen Parker, and myself. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Next, we have Clifton Thompson. And then after that will be Miss Andrea Mans. Hey.
Good evening. I'm speaking about the flooding that I have in my area. I'm speaking about 7 houses that it affects. And I've been to the city about this. They say that they do not do work on public property. This affects 7 houses in my area. The mayor has came out and looked at it. He's seen the water coming down my driveway like the Detroit River. This is the area that they came through. And how do I know that? Because I watched them do it. But the city tells me we don't do work on public property. It's messing with the street. It's breaking up the street. Buses are coming down there in the wintertime. I've got 6 inches of ice on my street, right there on the corner of Arlene and Tennyson. And I've been fighting this for 20 years. But nobody wants to do anything about it. We don't do nothing on private property. But they did it in Harrington Hills when Harrington Hills was having that flooding problem. Why can't I get the same treatment as they do? Where's the transparency? Here's a letter from the city clerk's office saying that we do not do any work over there. And I've got 7 to 10 other residents over there that would tell you that they did it. I've got so much soil erosion, they had to rebuild my driveway twice, along with the storm sewer. But I'm just wondering, why can't I get that same? Why can't the residents over there get the same thing? What's the problem? Where's the transparency? Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Andrea Mans. And next will be Miss Jackie Barnett.
There's a lot of glasses up here. It's a good thing I didn't need a new pair. But good evening, council, mayor, deputy mayor. I wanted to talk first about the bridge and how important it is that it becomes a priority. you all have started back working on Franklin Road and Bagley. And the last time Bagley and Franklin Road was shut down, people was running around all confused, didn't know which way to go. All of the roads from Bagley to Franklin was closed off. So everybody riding around like chickens with their head cut off, especially the people that don't live here. But even for the people that live here, we had to find alternate routes that take more time to get around the areas we need to. And then you have the issue because the bridge is shut down and the train holds up a lot of traffic. And so I don't know how anybody figured that that would be an easy maneuver, especially when you have emergency vehicles, you have police, well, all emergency vehicles. If they have to try to get to an emergency, depending on where they are, they have to go either all the way up to Updike or they just have to go to all of these other places and reroute, which takes time away from the actual emergency. So that bridge was really important, and it is important to everybody around here because you have more traffic, more people here, so it's creating a cluster and a lot of traffic that's not necessary, that if it was thought out more or if, they focus more on the bridge instead of Franklin Road, because Franklin Road is not caving in, and neither is Bagley. So I don't see the emergency there. I do see the emergency for the bridge. The second thing I wanted to talk about is, like, imagine getting off work at 5 o'clock. Then you have to rush up here to sign up for public comment. And then you get here to public comment, you got to wait 2 or 3 hours just to make a comment for 3 minutes. That's unnecessary too, because you put a whole lot of stuff before public comment. When people getting off work, they want to speak, go home and get into bed. And then you have people that can't come, so they don't come, or they won't come because they don't want to sit here all day. And if they tell somebody else, well, could you tell them about this at public comment? Well, you only have 3 minutes, so you can't get your stuff, their stuff, and everybody else's stuff out. You need to either have it moved up or especially give more time, maybe at least 1 more minute. And that's all I have to say for today.
Thank you. Ms. Jackie Barnett, and the next is Teresa Milton. I'm sorry, I said Thompson. Y'all gonna do it together? No. Oh. Okay. All right.
Okay, hey everybody, I am Jackie Barnett, and I am here to give thanks. And I want to tell you all for helping us with this Lancaster Village situation. Yesterday, the meeting was amazing. It's always a storm, but we got through the rain. It was all right. So I just want to give thanks. And I want to give thanks to Pastor Parker, Melanie Rutherford, Robert Bass, Gloria Miller, Brenda Carter, Deidre Waterman, Brian Killian, Mayor Grimmel, Oakland Press, NAACP, my Lancaster members. We all wanted to say thank you. We are just getting started. We do know that we have a long way to go, but the start happened yesterday, and the meeting that we had yesterday was so epic. So if you wasn't there, you wouldn't believe the power in the building. It felt so good, and then after the meeting, everyone felt relieved because they have someone in position, which is me. I did make board. I don't know my position on board, but I told them I don't have to be on the board to help. I care anyway, because I do live there. My door is always open, whether I have a position on the board or not. I know my place. So I want to tell y'all thank you. Lancaster love y'all. Just don't stop helping us. And we do still have issues, but one step at a time. So I just want to tell y'all thank you so much. And I love y'all so much. That's all.
Teresa Milton, and then after that will be Miss Rosalind Norcross.
Well, I don't know everybody's name, but I would like to tell everybody thank you for supporting us, because that has been, I've been there for 10 years, and I've seen it go down, and it was a great place to live, and I still love there. I don't want to be put out, and I don't want my daughter to have to be put out because, like I said, she's in one of those apartments, and because of her situation, she has to go. It's been over a year, and they told her today if she don't comply and she's bedridden, they're gonna close her case. So I just want to thank y'all for being there. Melanie, Mr. Parker, I just think, I don't know everybody's name, because, you know, I was the hype one there, because I don't back down to nobody.
Thanks.
I stand 10 toes. I might not know everything, but one thing you cannot do is run me away on something that I stand on and I believe on. And I just want to thank y'all for being there and supporting the Lancaster Village. And so many people that didn't speak yesterday, I know it's a relief for them too. And I just want to thank y'all with everything in me. And I love y'all too. Thank you, Melanie.
You're welcome back. Rosalind Northcross, and then it's going to be Mr. Larry Jasper.
Oh, I get it. Okay. Good evening. My name is Rosalind Northcross, and I'm the chairperson for the Neighborhood Association for District 1. And I'm back here, as usual, talking about the noise from M1 Concourse. The weather's getting warmer, and the noise is starting to increase. And we are really looking forward to the city's commitment to monitor and enforce the noise ordinance that's on the books. Ordinance 58-205, which is the maximum permissible sound level, reads, "No person shall conduct or permit any activity that produces a decibel beyond his property line, exceeding those levels in the table." So in the table for a commercial entity, it's 71 decibels between 7 a.m. in the morning and 10 p.m. at night. And between 10 p.m. at night to 7 in the morning, it goes down to 61 decibels. We are really looking forward to the city enforcing those decibel limits. And residents who are disturbed by or negatively impacted by the noise should call code enforcement, as some of you have already done. Let me give you the number. It's 248-758-2832. Report the noise which negatively impacts your well-being and the quality of your life and that of your family. Vigilance in reporting the noise is vitally important. This will be the first spring since M1 opened in 2016 that the city will be monitoring the noise from M1. The first time, and we are very excited about that. Again, the number to call, get your pencil. The number is, I'm going to read it very slowly, 248-758-2832. That's the number for code enforcement. And with my remaining moments, I'd like to congratulate the women on our council and for the work that they are doing. We appreciate the work of all of our council people as well as the administration. It's not an easy thing that you're doing, and we don't always agree with what you're doing, but we are glad that you are doing what you're doing and that you allow us the opportunity to speak and to listen to our ideas and to read the emails that we send and to respond. Thank you, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you, Larry Jasper, and after that will be Ms. Darlene Clark, and then last will be Ms. Gloria Miller.
Yeah, I want to kind of just say that I agree with the citizens. You know, that bridge needs to be fixed. They've only been complaining about it for a couple of years. Why don't you guys do an emergency resolution? You have enough money. You had $38 million. If that's all gone, I want to know where it went. Maybe you should tell everybody how it went. Oakland County's willing to give you $10 million to pay off a debt that you had on the Phoenix Center, even though they have a special easement now for DARPA, or I'm sorry, Dr. CFA, Detroit Regional Convention Facility Authority. If anybody doesn't know that, you might want to look it up. It's the first Michigan DEI law that was put into place to take away the power of your city officials because they have hidden in the contract special clauses, security stuff, right, Mayor? Complex security deals with financial instruments for downtown properties they've been using taking away taxpayer monies. You might want to look at Senate Bill 1022 and 1023. That specifically takes away money of citizens for the partnership that they agreed with private companies in order to do what? Better their properties. Not yours. You don't have any money. On top of that, they take away your money by increasing the residential cost because there's no taxation. You don't have any manufacturing facility. Let's take a look at the Silverdome, 10-year tax abatement. For whom? It's a 99-year lease. Who owns the property? Not you. You don't get any benefit either. Bloomfield Park, United States Wholesale Mortgage, the old GM truck plant. How many more properties do you want me to tell you that you're getting screwed on? You need to start looking at this stuff, people. Look it up on the internet. It's real easy to see. The Democratic Party in the state of Michigan, owning the executive branch, the House, and the Senate, passed these laws to hurt the citizens for their own benefit. And people here know this. They just haven't disclosed it. I didn't even know about this until January 17th of 2024. But once I saw it, I understood it all. And now I've done the research on all the individuals involved in the process from every authority figure from the state of Michigan, from the governor on down to Detroit, to Pontiac, to everything going on to the attorney generals, to the prosecutors, to the commissioners. It's not about helping out the citizens. It's about helping out themselves. Because if you don't know who owned the properties, who's getting the benefit? Not the citizens. And that's why this man's house is flooding, because you don't take care of it. That's why you don't have other issues like your facility. It has nothing to do with anything, but it doesn't benefit them. It only benefits them when they get your money, period. And point is, pay attention, people. Your elected representatives can't represent you.
Thank you. Darlene Clark, and that will be last, Honorable Gloria Miller.
Darlene Clark, speaking to the public as well as the administration and the council. Council, please understand this, and I know this is a reminder that you hear from me quite naturally a lot. But the reason I make this announcement on a continuous basis is that you continue to make mistakes that the public is really looking at. First, let's say this. You need your own counsel. You 2 years in, almost 2 years, 4 months round figure, you need your own counsel. Mistakes you have truly have made continuously on a daily basis. Now, let me show you one mistake that you made. You voted for a builder to come in here and to buy the land, and with the contract of the Mayor Grimo, and he had complied. So now you want to tell him the cost of what to charge for a home. When you allow one home to come into an area that you consider low income, $26,000 in the district, you're open for $250,000. You open up the door for another one to come in. Now, it may not be feasible to you, but he did comply with Mayor Grimo's recommendation. Oh, okay. Then another thing I want to bring to the attention, we have 7 districts in the city of Pontiac. We have Parker 1, we have James 2, we have Carrington 3, we have Melanie Redford. I'm sorry I'm not going in order, but we do have 7 council people. The people that look at this council meeting have seen so much go on with the council. Non-professionalism. You have council come in and they leave. They come in just to vote and they leave. You have council that, whatever the reason, that's a personal issue, it's not my concern, but that seat is empty, and for District 2, they have no representation. But then you have other council people who come in here and take it as you want, but with taxpayer pay you to sit there. Now, when the people see this a vote, 3 to 4, and only 4 people sitting there, you're making Pontiac look really bad. You're making investors, and I mean I deal with investors every day. You're making them look like, well, what kind of city am I bringing my businesses into? With all that being said, professionalism should be your #1 priority. Though you do not listen to the people, you have showed the people and the investors you're not listening to us. You're giving investors opportunity to come in here and to monopolize our city. Once again, administration, council. This is council meeting. This is not the mayor's meeting. You need representation to help you to move forward. You're not moving forward, you're moving backwards. The administration, I need to talk to you as well, Council, because tomorrow we have a GURGE meeting. For those people who's been waiting on the sideline since 2004 for an income, guess what's happening? When our mayor, I apologize for calling you Tim, Mayor Grimer went to court in the month of February. 17 times he had activity within the court system. The last opinion, and I have a copy of it, you would like to have it, he says, if there was an apocalypse, that means if the world was coming to an end, the mayor has no rights, no authority. Only the board has authority. So with all this being said, you need to make these people move forward in having a life. People have died. People have died and people are sick without the lack of money. But guess what we can say? The council wanted a piece of the pie, and the council, too, is just as guilty as the administration, because you're not forcing the administration this hand to move forward. And who see this? Investors. Investors see the opportunity, the stupidity to sit up here at our seats that's having our city being destroyed by our own people. Now, with that being said, Lancaster has been underwater and under siege for how long? More than a year. Went to the mayor said, hey, the district court couldn't do anything. And they still, in my opinion, and take this for what I say to you, it's just my opinion, you still at the same spot you was, no matter how your meeting was, you at the spot you was 2 years ago. So with all this being said, professionalism in this Pontiac, again, professionalism is the number one priority in Pontiac.
It's okay.
Are these your glasses? Somebody left their glasses?
Ms. Miller, she left already.
Oh, okay. I probably need them because I lost mine. First, I want to address the mayor. Mayor, when you come for me, you know I'm coming back. You mentioned last week that how I was with Lancaster, I was in office. How in the heck would you know what I'm doing? You weren't here. You wouldn't even, see, the thing about the difference between you and me, Mayor, I never left. I never went to Lansing. And don't do record to record, because I can go there with you. Some things was questionable that you did. So don't go there with me, okay? When I tell you that I didn't know anything about the Lancaster, I didn't know anything about the Lancaster. Because if you known what I did, when I first got in office, the first thing I did was went on to University Place and got them replaced. And Mayor Waterman was attest to that because she helped me on that. We had the same concern. So anybody know me, you come to me, if I can't do it, I'm going to do my best. And if I can't do it, I won't do it. Now, we'll leave that alone. I'll let you leave that alone. Second of all, I want to bring up, thank you, Carlton, for congratulating us. And by the way, for the people in Lancaster, it was beautiful. The power of people. That's what I'm going to speak about tonight. I'm talking to you TV land people in City of Pontiac. We want our bridge, right? I'm going back to the activist Gloria. Let's get together. Let's call the governor. Let's call Lieutenant Governor. Have them to come down to us. Explain to us while we got money sitting in the bank, we can't get nothing done for another 2 years. 2 years. Unacceptable. 248-678-5766 is my phone number. This is what I used to do back in the day when I was hell on wheels. I'm back. Okay, call me, anybody serious about this. Let's get together. Lancaster showed people. I was so proud yesterday. They showed up and they showed out. Because they work for you. They work for you. I was on that side, but then nobody had to tell me where, because I stayed on the ground. That's why I know you people. That's why I know my people. It ain't just black people. I know no white. I love them all. I do for all. I even do for people who don't even like me. But my work comes from up there. So I don't worry about none of this stuff. Now, I'm going to also say this. I want everyone to call me at that number. I want to get together. We need to get together. We got to put a plan together and get the governor, somebody down here, explain to me why this administration first had $20 million. Now we only got $10 million. And then Nikki Haley gave $4 million. What the hell is going on in this city, y'all? They play us because we allow them to play us. What did I tell you guys yesterday? If you fight, even if you go down wrong, you fight because they think we are sick and stupid up in this city. And we're not taking it anymore. I didn't ask that body. I didn't ask the mayor over and over and over. He should know me. He know what I do. I act. Now, one thing you know about me, I act. I done been to Lansing everywhere with signs and everything. I even hell tried to get rid of a governor. It don't bother me. So I'm asking the people of Pontiac, let's do it, because we finna get invaded with these streets.
That is your time. Thank you. That is the end of public comment. It was great.
Thank you, Councilwoman Rutherford. At this
You're
time,
welcome.
next on the item is the city council communications are listed on the agenda, so I won't read them line by line. I believe everyone is a little adult and is online. You can go and look at the communications. Mayor Graham, do you want to highlight any of your communications?
Yeah, just a couple of time-sensitive communications. So number one, another reminder that yard waste pickup is resuming next week. So after the winter hiatus, yard waste pickup will be resuming next week on your regular garbage pickup day. So that's very good news, obviously. Also, want to remind folks that we have a number of outreach events and activities so that more Pontiac-based businesses and more businesses owned by Pontiac residents can get contracts with the city. So we've had a couple of these already. The next one is on April 19th. That's Friday, April 19th at 5 p.m. right here in City Council chambers, and that will be followed the following month on Friday, May 17th, also at 5 p.m. right here in City Council chambers.
That's it for your communication, sir?
It is.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you. At this time, you want to start with your closing comments, Mayor Graham.
Well, first of all, I want to welcome back our colleague, Councilman Brett Nicholson. It is great to have you back here at tonight's council meeting. We have been keeping you in our thoughts and prayers, and it's really terrific to see you. In other good news, I want to thank all of those who have been making progress at Lancaster. I do want to start with some of our staff here, Code Enforcement, Jack McIntyre, and Clarence on his team. The two of them together have just been so incredibly dedicated and committed and have really been on this for a long time. As the Lancaster residents know, we went to court and tried to enforce things there. And when the judge said that we needed to have the magic word of co-op in our city ordinance, we then came to City Council, and City Council, in collaboration with us, amended the ordinance to add the word co-op to it so that we can now get back and make sure that we're standing up in court for the residents at Lancaster. But I also want to thank a couple of city council people, Councilman, and I call him Pastor Councilman because he's also a pastor, but Pastor Councilman William Parker has been such an advocate on this going back several years before he was even in office, because the problems at Lancaster go back several years before any of us up here were in office. And it's great that action is finally being taken with the administration's dedication, Jack McIntyre and Clarence's dedication, and all 7 council people's dedication. But the other council person I want to thank, because she was there last night, is Councilwoman Melanie Rutherford. And she was there as well last night, together with Councilman William Parker. But I also want to acknowledge our county commissioner, Angela Powell, was there in action. And it was great to see her and Councilwoman Rutherford work together to make sure that vote happened, because I know that there was some question about whether that would happen. You know, we've often been frustrated with HUD since we've been trying to get HUD to be more active there since August. But I do want to thank HUD for actually being there last night, because I personally asked HUD to have a representative there last night so we could make sure that the vote was conducted in a free and fair way. But most of all, I want to thank the Lancaster residents, because the Lancaster residents have been in the trenches fighting for improvements there, and they're the ones who have been taking it on the chin. They're the ones who last night stood up for themselves by electing new people to the Board of Lancaster, so kudos to the Lancaster residents. I also want to thank another staff person who is our very own Youth Recreation Manager, Tanisha Naylor, for putting together a wonderful event this past Saturday, the city's second annual spring egg hunt at United Wholesale Mortgage. We had 700 people from the community come out for this wonderful family-friendly event. I also just want to speak to, in a similar vein, Parks and Recreation vein, I do want to announce that we've got a number of community events coming up here to have listening sessions regarding putting together design concept plans for 10 neighborhood and mini parks. I want to emphasize that we're not reinventing the wheel here. We're going to be putting amenities in these 10 neighborhood and mini parks in conformity with the parks master plan that was approved back in 2020. So there's not going to be a big earth-shattering change to these parks compared to what's called for in the master plan. It's just that nothing had happened under the master plan. So as we have the concept design firm work on this, it's not so much what's going to go into these parks. That's all already in the master plan. It's more about some of the specific designs about where these amenities will go in the parks and some of the other aesthetic specifics. And I do want to announce when these sessions are going to be, because they're happening in the next couple of days. I know I mentioned this a week ago as well. So Richardson Park, tomorrow from 10 to 11 a.m. There'll be a listening session in Richardson Park. In Shirley, in the park at Shirley and Willard, from 11 a.m. to noon tomorrow. The park at Motor and Montana, from 1 to 2 p.m. tomorrow. The Art Dunlop Park, from 2 to 3 p.m. tomorrow. The Dawson Pond Park, from 3 to 4 p.m. tomorrow. That's all on March 27th, Wednesday. Then on Thursday, March 28th, 2 days from now, North Kiwanis Park from 10 to 11 a.m. Cherry Lawn Park, 11 a.m. to noon. The Art Heaton Park, 1 to 2 p.m. The Baldwin Park from 2 to 3 p.m. and the Indian Village Park from 3 to 4 p.m. That's all this Thursday. We understand that people work, so we're also going to be doing an evening listening session right here at City Hall this coming Thursday evening. So that way those who aren't able to make it during the workday can come and have input regarding any of those 10 neighborhood and mini parks right here at City Hall this Thursday evening. Also, just want to clarify a couple of other matters very quickly. I know that there was a conversation or a comment from a member of the public about the youth rec center that was being rented by the previous administration. And yes, we ended that lease because the city was paying almost $30,000 a month to lease a community on Gulf Drive that was not a quality facility and was spending over $300,000 a year just to rent it. We're very excited that we've been able to offer great and successful youth recreation programs across this city with many thousands of our young people participating without flushing almost $30,000 per month down the drain. I also want to just say that we're so excited about embarking on this journey and this endeavor to finally have a city-owned youth rec center again for the first time since emergency management. Also, as the member of the public said, it's true. The city does not do work on private property. We do work on public property. I think members of the public can understand that if we started doing work on private property, there would be no end to the amount of work we'd be requested to do by private citizens. We are focused on improving public property. We leave it to private property owners to improve their private properties. And I want to be clear, I can't speak for what happened under previous administrations, but this administration has not done any work on private property, not in Harrington Hills, not anywhere else in the city. And then I also want to just mention again that yes, We have a few weeks of construction going on Franklin Road to finish the underground storm water sewer work that was not able to be completed when the road was repaved last fall. That wasn't possible to complete because of supply chain problems and material shortages, but we are now working to finish that work. We're hoping that work will be done by April 19th. It should be done absolutely no later by the beginning of May. And while the work on Gulf Drive will be starting mid-April, the work on Bagley will not be starting until mid-May. So we should not have a situation like we had last year where there was work going on both Bagley and Franklin Road, which are alternate routes to each other at the same time. One of those roads will be free from construction at all times this year. And lastly, I know I've explained this many times about the Martin Luther King Bridge, but this is a hugely expensive project. It's $12 to $15 million based on an estimate from a year ago. That's almost twice the total budget that we have for DPW for all the roads in the city. And so there was no way to start work on that until we got the funding from the state. We just got $10 million from the state of Michigan. We just got awarded $4.1 million from the federal government, which will be arriving in about a year. But we now have the funds necessary to start engineering work. And yes, it takes a long time to do the design and engineering and then the construction on all roadways, especially a major bridge project over a railway line. So the engineering is going to take about a year. Then we'll be going out to bid and doing the construction, and that'll take about a year. I've been very clear and transparent about that all along. Now that we've got the funds, we're ready to get to work.
Thank you, Mayor Grimer. I know I'm not giving you my time this week, so thank you. At this time, Councilwoman James, closing comments.
Yes, I just have one. I have my regular monthly district council meeting on this Thursday night, March the 28th at the New Mount Moriah International Church at 6 p.m. We're going to have Tim Grimer, Tim, you're invited, but Tim Travis will be there, the president of Golden Wash, talking to us about community projects. We hope to be able to do some landscaping in some of our public areas in District 4. So the public is invited to be there. And again, Thursday night, 6 p.m. at the New Mount Moriah International Church. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman James. Clerk Doyle, you have any comments?
Comments, then, Mr. President.
All right, thank you. Councilman Goodman?
I had an amazing time last night at my District 3 meeting. Big shout out to our worker, our lovely employee, the one that makes it all happen for me sometimes, James McQueen. Had a very lovely conversation talking about the main things that have happened in the city, that the city has been doing around, well, my area that I am very passionate about, being housing, being tenants' rights, having a chance to really inform the residents about what's happening, having some really important discussions on what needs to happen next. Because contrary to what's been said tonight by multiple different people, I, like my other colleagues, do listen to our residents, do talk to our people. Luckily, I have the amazing benefit of some of my district residents also being amazing city employees who have very strong opinions. They got fed food. They got China Jade. If y'all, yeah. So I take care of my residents when we have conversations. Being able to have that at the Baldwin Center, which is really massively important to our community, feeds so many people, especially in District 3, but all throughout the city. So very grateful to have people come out and have that discussion. We had Steve Tomkowiak, which if you've been watching the past couple city council meetings, has been massively important in being able to discuss our housing policies in the city, which is why I want to talk to y'all afterwards so we can talk about more tenant stuff. But also being able to report back to the district about what's happening development-wise, things that are happening with zoning, because as I think a lot of us have noticed, not a lot of development happens north of Woodward, north of Mount Calm, really. So being able to see some things get rezoned, seeing some things possibly actually come to the residents is very nice. And also with that, I do hear the concerns about, the short timeline that there is on feedback for parks. So If there is no large problem with timeline, I'm looking at the deputy mayor and the mayor. At my next District 3 meeting, which would be the last Monday of the month, if you live in District 3 and you want to comment specifically on our parks, which would be North Kiwanis, mainly along with Lakeside Park, please come to that meeting so you have a chance to give some feedback on North Kiwanis. I've been trying to get a lot of things to happen with that. But so with that, just keep an eye out. Our next District 3 meeting will be the last Monday of the month. So I look to hearing from you all then, and thank you to everyone who came out. So I'll leave it there.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Melanie Rutherford from District 1, which is the second best district in the city of Pontiac.
Well, did you miss me? Yeah. We must reject the other stereotypes that others hold us to. Well, we almost must reject the stereotypes that we hold on ourselves. That was said by Shirley Chisholm. There are some in this city that simply don't want to see progress. There are some in this city who are hell-bent on division. I know because I used to be one of them. Until I understood the power of the people. I understood that I had to set aside how I feel about a person so I can work with the person so that we can get the job done. That ain't easy to say sometimes because some people forget that we are still humans and that in over 2 years, I speak for myself, I've lost 12 people while sitting in this seat. Lost my father, just lost my brother, lost 2 of my best friends. Some of us are facing serious health issues. And so the same grace that y'all want us to give y'all got to give it to us. Some of us are in so much pain and we are still serving. Some of us have discovered lumps and we are still serving. Some of us are going through emotional trauma because every day we have somebody calling us from our district who are facing homelessness. We have people in human trafficking. We have people that don't have no food. We have people that don't have no shelter. So I am appalled when people try to attack leadership because you ain't never led. And the Bible says, whose report will you believe? It's not Melanie, that's the Bible. And at some point, we got to start believing facts. Facts 1, we have money for the bridge. Is it going to take longer than expected? Yes. But do you want to get hurt on that bridge or do you want a new bridge? Fact 2, we have money that's set aside for the youth center. And this administration, because I can tell you because it's under building and facilities, are actively pursuing more funding to get the job done. Do you want a half-built youth center or do you want a real youth center? Every month, each person in this council has meetings. Mine is on Saturday. Everybody's invited, but everybody knows the rules. It's from 3 to 5 at the Pontiac Transportation, and we have transparency there. And sometimes transparency makes folks who lie uncomfortable. See, I used to be gaslighted by people. I used to allow people to play with me and play on my top. That's what we say in the hood. And then I got a life coach and a therapist, and I realized that only I can control my emotions. Only I can control how I respond. Oftentimes, I'll get a cue from Ms. Northcross if I'm not smiling or if I ain't sitting up because she wants me to lead with integrity. Why am I saying all this? What Lancaster did last night was phenomenal. But not only that, what I saw our county commissioner do was phenomenal. And I must say it openly. I saw things I ain't never seen, young and old, getting together. Even the former mayor was there, but people didn't know, and I have to say it because I give him a hard time. The mayor Grumble cussed out everybody at HUD to make sure somebody was at HUD there. Now, he ain't gonna say it because, he's professional, but you know me, I'm gonna say what it is. I say all this to say, stop letting people gaslight you. Stop letting people put their stereotypes on you. Stop letting people tell you what your city isn't doing. Because we may not be moving as fast as you want us to, but baby, we moving. And as I always say, God bless you and keep you. May God put his precious hands upon you. And I am Councilwoman Melanie Rutherford. And may God give you peace. Have a good evening. Goodbye.
Thank you, Council Rutherford, again, I hate coming behind Council Rutherford, but I'm gonna keep it short. The mayor took some of my time, and Councilwoman took some of my time as well, so I'm gonna keep it pretty brief. You said I could. I did say you could. I did say that. I did that. All right. So I just want to close with a comment. Propaganda continues to be the bane of our community. Time and time again, it has been shown that words are more effective than a gun to arrest our economic and political development. And if care is not taken for our people, we will perish due to lack of knowledge. And I'd like to just close with that, because it's so many things that are moving in this community, so many things. And when I took this seat, I did not realize just how far, due to the takeover of our city, that our city actually had fallen. So many of our institutions, so many of our departments were shortened when it comes to personnel. So in doing that, I really came to the table thinking I can change the world in 6 months. And what I realized, you can't change the world in 6 months, but you can continue each and every day that you serve to move it close to where you're trying to get to as a collective community. I definitely believe in collective economics. I believe in self-determination. And that's the only way that we can move this city forward. I don't ask for a lot, but I do. One thing about me, I want to ask the community to do anything I'm not willing to do myself. Anybody that knows me, I'm gonna be the first one picking up a shovel anywhere before I ask this community to pick up a shovel. So again, if you want to be a part of this process, don't just come to this podium. Meet me in the community where I serve. Meet me in the community where we're trying to get rid of the blight. Meet us in the community where we're trying to make sure our residents have good housing. Meet us in the community when we're trying to build economic development in our districts. Meet me in the community where churches are organizing, where community associations are organizing. It's so many moving parts that's moving this city forward. No one can do it by themselves. This council cannot do it by themselves. The administration cannot do it by themselves. The people working with the council, the people working with the administration, us coming together collectively, we can make this thing happen. I see the sunshine over the hills. I see it. I see it. I see the rec center being developed, not in the time frame that I wanted it, because I wanted it fast. I'm gonna tell you that. I wanted it within 12 months of 16 months when we came into office. That's when I wanted it. And that may not happen, but I know it's coming. I know that the dream started before this administration. It took a lot of years of not being done, but it's okay because that dream started in the last administration, and this administration is gonna build on whatever happened in the last administration. It's not about who didn't complete it. It's not about how long it takes. It's about getting it done, and we will get it done. We will get it done. And in saying that, can I get a motion?
So moved.
It's moved by Councilwoman Rutherford, second by Councilman Goodman for adjournment. Clerk Doyle, roll call.
Rutherford,
Yes.
Carrington,
Yes.
Goodman,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Nicholson.
Yes.
5 yeas, no nays. Adjourned at